Hello, Mr. Randy Duck, and welcome back for another video. And today we have two replays to show you in the Tier 10 Tech Tree Soviet medium tank, the Object 140. Now, if you want to see the crew and equipment setup I run in the Object 140, you'll be able to see it at the bottom of the screen as I speak. But for the first replay, we are here on Hellborn, where there is one enemy light tank and one enemy artillery. Now, the Object 140, I've kind of got this replay in this tank today because I feel like it's a medium tank which really, it kind of needs a little bit of love. You know, it used to be like, back in the day, like a fantastic medium with like amazing DPM. And it does still have decent DPM, but the problem you've got is so many other medium tanks have had, you know, so many buffs. But it's got a little bit left behind. And then you kind of run into the problem where you got the T62A, which is essentially exactly the same tank as the Object 140, but better. It has better DPM and better armour, and the only thing the Object 140 really has over the T62A is it has slightly more concealment, but not really noticeably. So ultimately it's just a better version of this tank. Now, I just kind of why I got this replay out today. I thought I'd play one with a tank which, you know, just needs a little bit of love. Now, the start of this game, I've kind of traded with this enemy E6 tank, which is obviously a fantastic medium. Now, I've lost half my hit points, but I did kill the tank for it, and I basically, you know, for those 1,000 hit points I've lost, I've done 2,400 damage for it. So it was worth it, and I had to get rid of that position, tank at that position. But I kind of felt like I don't want to stay here because of those enemy heavy tanks are kind of pushed up on us. And I felt like that position wasn't going to end well for us if we stayed in that location. I just didn't think I had the support I needed. Now, I probably should have, when I left, has actually lost my spot before I leave, because I ended up eating another shot for that. And probably unnecessary if I just waited a little bit more and was a little bit more patient. But I just didn't want to get trapped there because I just kind of felt like we didn't have enough tanks down the zero line, but I had a hunch that they were just going to push around on us, and I thought I was going to get out of there before that situation occurs. So we're left really on 600 hit points, so we're one shot to quite a lot of the big sort of TDs there with the big Alpha and some of the heavy tanks, so we've got to be a little bit careful here. We don't really have any hit points to spare now, and we're not going to be able to play as aggressive because of that fact. So I'm kind of moved around, see if we can get any shots over this side. We're looking at what's going on, but nothing's really happening. And now I feel like the heavy tanks, which I was sort of fighting in my area, might be pushing around, and I might be able to get some shots in. So at this point I'm going to move over, and I feel like at this point I noticed that I've actually got a friend Barcode who's playing in this game, who recently featured in the FE 1005. With that ridiculous like 14k replay in my guest replay, so you haven't seen that, check it out. But I've just noticed I've got him, so I know I've got a decent player with us to play this game now, and you can see he just slapped that medium tanker's cross round in the open, and that's kind of why I left that position, because I felt like that was going to happen to me in that location. But I probably would have been okay, considering, you know, had I realised I had Barcode in FE 1005 which could back us up there, I probably wouldn't have left. But anyway, we managed to pick up another shot, so we've got 3,000 damage now and 2 kills. And we're starting to, you know, take the lead on this game. Although we do have the number advantage, we don't actually, you know, the hit points is still pretty close. So we get a shot into enemy tank destroyer, which is sort of camping in their spawn. And we imagine there is still a fair few more tanks in that location. But we're also alert to the fact that we have enemy heavy tanks pushing down the town area. So I may have to go back to potentially defend the base at some point. So I've got that in my back of my mind. But you do obviously have decent mobility in the Object 140. You know, I've got a top speed of 55 kilometers an hour. So I'm confident in the fact that I will be able to get back, and I'm not concerned about getting capped out as such. But I'm just, you know, being a little bit careful just because of my the hit points I've lost earlier in this game is kind of caused that. Our TDs are kind of pushed up to the B sort of 5 location. I'm thinking about heading over there myself to see if I can get shots at the enemy tank destroyers on their hill. Knowing that I've got a bit of cover, I'm trying to find an angle to kill them. But obviously, you know, I know those heavy tanks were in the town and they could be pushing down to our base. but I'm just kind of, so I'm conscious of that. I don't want to get shot in the back. But at the moment, I'm just going to take the risk that they're just going to continue pushing towards our base and not turn around, because that quite mostly happens, and I'm going to try and get some shots in. Barcode actually slaps at F3005, who I was about to shoot on the hill there, absolutely deleted him. Shame I wasn't up there a bit quicker, because if I would have spotted that tank, that would have given me a lot of assistance damage. And I'm going to move up to this hill now to try and spot the remaining tanks on that hill to try and get those assistance. And I spotted this enemy tier 9 tank destroyer, which is effectively tier 10. That tank is godly. But I know I have to cover. As he comes round on me, he should really get shot at. I'm hoping this is going to happen. Thankfully, he bounced. I'm hoping he's not going to full send me without getting shot there. Because I do have, say, barcode in a TD and a heavy tank, which could potentially shoot this tank where he is located. And that is what started to happen, and I started to pick up a little bit of assistance damage for that good measure. And it's also put him onto a one-shot, which is good, because now I can finish him off just like that. But the game is still close with a 6 versus 5. Definitely not won yet. I spot another tank destroyer on the hill. Thankfully, he does not hit me. But then we got this enemy aviary, I believe it is, who was full health, but now has just lost the blink of eye, a lot of hit points. But obviously, I am a one-shot to the aviary, and he won't have to wane. He'll just have to splash me. So got to be careful engaging this tank. But also, I want to just try and get on with this game, because I want to try and get behind and kill the tanks going towards our base. So I'm going to pop a shot into this aviary when he's distracted. I should be able to reload in time before he's even turned around and hopefully pick up the kill. That's the one thing the Object 40 does have. Although you only have 320 alpha, which you don't really feel like you're hitting enemy tanks that hard, because you're not now. These days, tier 8 tanks, medium tanks have that sort of alpha. What you do has is good reload. So it puts your DPM in my current build to about 3,990, so it's decent DPM, but you need to fire a lot of shots to get your damage, where you could be in tanks like the Leopard PTA with like your 420 alphas, and you just pick up that damage so much quickly, because you don't always have opportunities to sort of just keep getting your shots away. Like when you do, if you catch someone out in the open, or it's good at like permanently tracking tanks, things like that. Now his enemy tank destroyer, I'm hoping he's on reload, because otherwise he could potentially kill me in 2 shots here. I put 1 shot in to put him on to a 1-shot. Now I am a 1-shot to him. Hopefully I can get this kill in, because he is a derp gun before he turns around, and I do. Confirming my 5th kill of the game, bringing us to 5,000 damage with 700 assistance. And 1 enemy tank remaining, who's just got shut down by barcode in his tank destroyer. And that is the end of replay number 1, and we finished that game off, like I say, 5 kills, 5,000 damage, and just confirming the first class there. Nothing crazy, but it's still a decent game nonetheless. So let's move on to the final replay of this video. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2, and we are on Morrow, and we have 1 enemy artillery and 1 enemy light tank. So initially in our medium tank, we're going to go and try and play the field area, because we don't really want to give up that side of the map. But unfortunately, I'm kind of, as I already set off to get down there, kind of realising that my team aren't really coming with me. Now, I probably should turn around already, to be honest, because I just don't have the support. I've got this 1 heavy tank coming with me. But I thought, I'm just going to quickly spot to see what's there and then get out of there as quickly as I can, because, depending if I am outnumbered, which I suspect I will be. So I spotted a few tanks here, and I thought, what, this is kind of silly. If I stay here now, I'm just going to be outgunned, and I'm not going to be able to win. So I'm falling back here, and our friendly heavy tank who comes with us is falling back as well. And that heavy tank goes on to actually have a really good, was really impactful in this replay. So I'm getting out of it now, and I'm just hoping I don't get spotted as I'm leaving. Like I say, it's never a great idea just to abandon that side and essentially all just play in there sort of in your base, because you're basically, if you do that, you're leaving yourself just getting surrounded and just not taking any map control whatsoever, which is never really a good idea. But obviously you can't control what your team's going to do. Now our friendly other tank has started to move in there, but it's kind of a little bit too late. If both of our tanks would have come with me at the start, I would have stayed on 4, but I couldn't do that with the fact that none of us really came in. So I decided I need to try and leave, get back, kind of predictable, thinking we're going to lose the field. But I don't want them tank to come in and surround us, so I need to try and set up to cover. But our friendly heavy tank, like I say, this tank is doing a good job of staying alive here. And what I want to do is put myself into position to get as many shots into the tanks which try and kill him as possible, just to make his tank as useful as possible. And he's doing a really good job of just trying to dig in and make himself as hard to kill as possible. So I want to try and get shots in to help him, and not bounce shots like that, because that is not going to help him out in this situation. I need to start confirming kills, looking for the kills. Now this heavy tank gets taken out. There's 2 one-shots there. We then got this enemy medium tank which I've got shots into, so I'm going to look to start firing some shots in. Now you do have decent shell velocity on the standard rounds here, so you've got 1,530 shell velocity on your APCR with 264 pen. So I do take a lot of the standard rounds because, yeah, that sort of shell velocity just feels really nice. That's one thing that does feel good about this tank, because your heat shells with your 330 pen only have a shell velocity of 900, so you do need to adjust your lead when you swap between those shells. Our heavy tank again is still alive here. He's hanging on, considering he was very much outmatched. He's done a very good job of holding, staying alive as long as possible, which has allowed us to get damage and shots onto these enemy tanks, because we are losing this tank game at the moment. So I'm looking to get as many kills in, damage and shots in as possible. I see the one-shot leopard here. Unfortunately, our heavy tank does go down, but at least we kill that leopard for it, picking up our 2nd kill of the game, and looking to try and find a way into the shot into this other heavy tank. But with the sort of heroic efforts of our friendly tank over there staying alive, we've managed to sort of kill most of the tanks in that field, and I'm thinking I actually might be able to re-push this field and win this field now, which would then allow me to come around and get cross shots into the tanks which are pushed into the middle ground area. As you can see, there's a lot of tanks pulled up in that area, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and move in now and win this field, because I think you can't be many tanks here. Looking at how many tanks are spotted, there's only 9 tanks left, so there's only going to be like 1 tank here, if anything, to be honest with you. So I'm going to try and move in now to create different angles, and this is why it's important to try and win the field area, because then you can do this, so you're not all just fighting in one angle. You can try to get multiple of angles on the enemy team, which makes it harder for them to stay alive. So I'm moving in now, trying to do exactly that. Now I'm on about 2,500 damage and 3 kills, but I've still got a lot of my hit points left, and there's still quite a healthy amount of damage left in this game. So now by creating that angle, I put these tanks in all sorts of bother. Now I'm going to have to swap to my heat shell here. Actually I don't. I pen him in this lower plate, so with my APCR, confirming the kill on the E100. We then shortly followed it up by confirming the kill on the IS-4 there, picking up 2 kills in quick session there, putting us on to 5 kills now. And I have shots at that enemy Jaegeru, but then I get detected, and it looks like this enemy E5 is not too pleased with me getting the side shots in, and he's decided to drive across the map to get shots into us. Now hopefully he'll get punished by our medium tank, which is there. That's the only real tank which can probably shoot him at the moment, because everyone else, maybe our tank on the hill at the sort of G3. And if we can get a shot into him and put him onto a 1, it would be nice. I go for the cupola shot there, but yeah, I do bounce it. Obviously you do only have 6 degrees of gun depression in this tank, so it can be a little bit awkward, but I'd like to try and squeeze in a shot, because he is now 1 shot to us and would confirm our Top Gun medal. So we're going to wait there. I could have killed him there, but I really fluffed that shot, to be honest with you. He kind of stopped. I wasn't thinking he was going to, but thankfully my cupola shot does pen, and I'm able to confirm the kill on E5, putting us on to just shy of 4,000 damage now with 6 kills and still 6 enemy tanks remaining in this game. Now I'm kind of thinking right now that Jaegeru was playing quite high up on the hill. Maybe I can come round and create an angle on this guy. So I do have the side shots into him, put 1 shot in. I swapped to the heat shells here because he's turned around, and I'm going to struggle to pen him with the APCR. But at that sort of angle he's at, maybe I should get the AP out, APCR standard rounds, because if he's going to turn like that, I might be able to put a shot through his drive wheel and track him in place. But at the moment, this is a very close game. We do have the advantage on the hit point numbers, but the sorry, not the hit, yeah, well, the kills, but the hit point numbers are still very, very close. So I've got side shots into him again. Unfortunately, my shot is not going true. He's turned for us here. Now here, I kind of regret not quickly swapping to the standard rounds and going for the driver shot. I actually went to shoot him in the lower plate, but I might, if I just swapped, I might have been able to keep him permanent tracked in place, depending on how good his crew was. But I do put another couple of shots into him. And I'm looking to try and finish this tank off. I'm hoping he stays spotted for as long as possible, but it's not really happening. And this is when I start to make a mistake. You know, I've seen two tanks in the middle. I'm thinking, can I get behind them and just get a shot on this enemy Jaeger? Now, what I should really do here is continue to play a little bit more passive, you know, not as aggressive, because I've kind of got time on my hands. I don't need to rush. But what I've decided, you're going to see in a minute, I decided to try and get behind the tanks, because if Jaguar's not getting spotted, and I'm hoping I can try and get into the little dip, kill the artillery, and then just farm the other tanks. But it was a little bit unnecessary, and you're going to see what happens. So I'm going to come around, and I'm just going to see if I can outspot this Jaguar. I don't now I have to commit, because otherwise I'm going to get shot in the side. I have to commit and get into this low ground. Artillery puts one shot into us, not the end of the world. At this point I think this is great. I'm going to kill the enemy artillery, but then the enemy F3005 comes out from the corner and shuts us down. And yeah, that was a real shame, because I got the 7th kill, but I probably could have got the Paul's medal, to be honest, in this game if I just played a little bit more passive. Didn't need to do that. I mean, I was hoping that like the F3005 was going to be at the C1, and if he was, and I would have then been safe, because the other tanks weren't going to kill me there, because they would have got shot pushing us. But yeah, I wish I didn't make that mistake. Now I'm going to skip ahead, because somehow we actually go on to win this game, but I'm not. It goes on forever, so I'm just going to skip to the scoreboard, and I'll see you over there in a little bit. Okay, so you can see here the Ruthless managed to get the shot and into F3005 at the end, and we do at least come away with a victory. But yeah, it was kind of a bit of a heartbreak, that game, because if I was just more patient, I definitely could have done a lot more. Like, I did 5,000 damage and 7 kills, so we had a big impact on the win, and we get first class. But if I didn't make that decision, like, that definitely could have potentially been a Paul's medal, maybe, or I definitely would have got more damage. But that's it for the video today. Like I say, no massive crazy games today, but I just wanted to get the replays out to show you the Object 140. But as always, happy tanking.
Enemy in sight.